The city was still half asleep when Gregory Miles stepped out of the black SUV and adjusted the cuffs of his coat. Morning air cut clean and sharp between the buildings. The driver waited, engine running, but Gregory waved him off without looking back. He liked walking the last block alone. It reminded him that he owned his mornings, that the world still moved when he told it to. At 46, Gregory had everything people pointed at when they talked about success. A finance company that swallowed competitors quietly, a condo high enough that clouds sometimes slid past his windows, and a name that carried weight in rooms where decisions were made fast and forgiven faster. People laughed at his jokes. They returned his calls. They needed him. What no one needed was the man underneath the tailored suits. His days were full and empty at the same time. Meetings stacked on meetings. Numbers flashing across screens. Promises made and broken without emotion. At night, his condo lights stayed off. He ate standing up, scrolling through messages that all sounded the same. Congratulations. Requests. Invitations he never accepted. Silence felt safer than conversation. Silence didn't ask anything back. The call came on a Tuesday, ordinary enough to be forgettable. An audit. Routine, they said. Gregory didn't panic. He'd survived worse. He had lawyers, accountants, buffers built on buffers. He told himself it was noise. It wasn't. What followed wasn't a crash but a slow tightening, like a rope drawn 1 inch at a time. Accounts frozen pending review. Partners stepping back, temporarily. Old decisions pulled into the light and judged with new rules. Gregory fought it the only way he knew how, with money and confidence, until both ran thin. By the time the headlines appeared, they were gentle but final. Questions of ethics. Investigations ongoing. No conclusions yet. But conclusions weren't needed. The damage was done. Clients vanished. Deals died mid-sentence. The company dissolved without ceremony. Gregory packed his condo alone. Art he never liked. Furniture chosen by someone else. He realized he had spent years buying space instead of filling it. When the keys were left on the counter, there was no one to hand them to. The shelter was louder than he expected. Too many stories stacked too close together. Gregory stayed near the wall, listening more than speaking. Hunger arrived like a truth you couldn't argue with. Pride followed, then left. Cold nights taught him how small a body could feel when it had nowhere to belong. That was where he met Daniel. Daniel was younger than Gregory had been when he first made real money, but his face looked older. Life had written on it early. He slept near the back exit, close enough to feel air move when the door opened. He shared food without making a show of it. He listened without interrupting. He talked about his daughter sometimes, never too long, like he was afraid saying her name too often might wear it out. They didn't bond quickly. They existed near each other. That was enough at first. On the streets, days passed differently. Time stretched and folded in strange ways. Gregory learned the language of survival. Which churches fed you without preaching? Which corners were safe? Which smiles meant trouble? Daniel showed him how to stay warm with cardboard and patience. Gregory showed Daniel how to read people who pretended not to see you. One night, after a freezing rain soaked everything they owned, Daniel admitted he'd been turning down a job offer because it meant leaving his daughter with someone he didn't trust. He said it like a fact, not a complaint. Gregory felt something twist inside him. He had walked away from relationships for far less. The turning point didn't arrive with drama. It arrived with a choice. Gregory was offered a consulting role through an old contact who had taken pity or curiosity, he couldn't tell which. It paid little. It required anonymity. No public redemption. No applause. Just work. Honest work. He accepted on one condition. Daniel got a chance too. It took time. Paperwork. Doubt. But eventually, it worked. Daniel got the job. A small apartment followed. Gregory stayed back longer than he needed to, making sure the ground was solid before stepping off it himself. Months later, Gregory stood on the same street where he had once walked past people without seeing them. The city looked the same. He didn't. He understood now that money didn't make him powerful. It had only made him distant. What changed him wasn't losing everything. It was being seen when he had nothing worth taking. And that lesson stayed, long after the city moved on.